Yeah, yeah, hi. And in this session, I'll be discussing some basics of HANA based on HA100 certification material. This would be a purely theoretical concept, and then we're going to do projects based on these concepts that we have, gathered in this session. Yeah. So in this session, we're going to discuss about the overview of SAP HANA, and after completing this, you'll be understanding the pain points what we normally face in all the projects wherein we have where we are using the classical database, and we'll be discussing about the architecture as an accelerated of sidecar scenario, and then actual server being used. Okay, so explain the architecture of SAP HANA as an in-memory database. What exactly is in-memory database is what we'll be discussing, and then you know RDS. We are going to discuss about the RDS, and then with deployment options. So this lesson presents why SAP HANA has been developed and how this new technology can help increasing the business opportunities. So after completing this lesson, you will be able to explain the current existing pain points in a system using a classical database, explain how SAP HANA can handle the pain points and help you improve the profit as well for a business organization. So in the information explosion, like we have huge data, we have that data everywhere in the organization, not just in the organization, everywhere in the world we have huge data. So we have inventory planning, we have opportunities, we have transaction data, we have mobile data, we have email data, we have we have data everywhere. So this explosion had to be handled in a proper way. We need to make use of the data for some business purpose. So the first, the information explosion. Massive amounts of data has been created everywhere every year, and how fast your business reacts to it determines whether you succeed or fail. So this is a big problem, and it is getting bigger. So IDC is actually a company for survey that worldwide digital content added up to 487 billion gigabytes. So that much of data is there by 2009, and they predict that every 18 months it will be almost multiplied, like by two. So it's like a stock of DVDs all the way to the moon and back. So if we keep the DVDs, then it'll the information is so high that you can put that DVD still moon and back. Still there'll be data which is not yet covered. So that much of data is there. So in a slogan management survey in 2010, 60% of executives said that companies have more than they know how to use effectively. So they have huge data, but they don't know how to use it. And how much data do we have? One zettabyte, is almost a trillion gigabytes. So that much of data, and we still have as we have done from there, it is almost 10 times more now. So kilobytes, like zettabyte, how much is a zettabyte is what we are just looking at here. Kilobyte, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, and yottabyte. So these are the various measures for measuring the data. Okay, so reality consumerization. So expectations to have decisions in real time. So we need to have a quick decision on the spot when the business is happening right now. We cannot sit back and take decision on next day because when the customer is there, we need to take a decision very spontaneously. So let me give you an example. Like you went to a supermarket and you swiped your card, you swiped your credit card. The moment you swipe the credit card at the counter, they will be getting an analysis of what exactly you would like to purchase every time and what you have missed right now. So for example, you have missed say shaving blades, then the supermarket would suggest you, sir, would you like to purchase razors as well, because you have forgotten that, or like toothpaste is what you have forgotten, whatever. So immediately you can say, okay, yeah, I would like to take it. So the business is increased immediately. So the decision making have to be spontaneous so that the client can be brought into the, I mean, like into a zone where they are comfortably doing the business, uh, more business with the same client. So at the same time, the consumerization trend is driving up expectations as to what enterprise can help the business to do. It's increasing. Like the expectations are like it should be 100% perfect. You cannot take anything which is like which is a flaw from the IT department. Like see, you cannot digest it when somebody gives you a wrong bill, wrong telephone bill or something like that. So you can't take it because you take it for granted that it has to be perfect. It has to be 100% perfect. So those kind of expectations are already there in the market. So for that, standing up to that is a challenge of the business. So they want them to be right and they want them to be anywhere, anytime. So this is what is the expectations, and IT cannot deliver. So the kind of technology that we were using before HANA and the kind of infrastructure we were using and the kind of innovations that we are using were not enough for addressing all the expectations of the client, like immediate answer to any question, current complete information, cost effective management of large data volumes. These all things were not possible in the IT. So there had to become something which we can address these things. So we have IT cannot deliver. So this puts IT in a tough place. So IT cannot deliver what the business needs, and why? Because the cost of managing that data expression is too high. Because there is no practical way to instantly analyze everything that's going on relative to the business. So IT can deliver some of the information. The most crucial slice of information can be delivered in a near real time, but it's not enough data. Data is growing, so data is growing very fast. Okay, so now here let's understand this picture. So we have SAP HANA. When we introduce SAP HANA database, what exactly happens with that software is we have a system which is 3600 times faster analytics than any other database in the world. Real-time access to data, transactional data is available. Groundbreaking in-memory innovations is possible. I mean, like that is how the data is saved in memory in memory concept. So that's what is the innovation with SAP HANA. So this is a role of SAP HANA using groundbreaking in-memory hardware and software, and we can make data at a massive scale. Okay, so your reality with SAP, this is what we have. Okay, now let's see this in memory. Now what happens here is like in memory, we have hardware, and we have the database, and we have the software. Everything will be sold by SAP, and the client gets everything from SAP itself. Previously, it was not like that. The hardware used to be purchased from some other client, and database used to be purchased from some other client and some other vendors actually for a client. So they had different vendors for different things, like for hardware different vendor, for database different vendor, and for software they used to come to SAP, because SAP used to sell only software. But whereas in after HANA, they are selling the entire hardware which is required for this entire HANA system, and as well as we are also selling the software as well. This is what we have. Okay, so what's inside HANA? So this architecture diagram, So this is an architecture diagram. So let's discuss more in detail about the architecture diagram here. So if you are going to connect, let's imagine that we are going to connect with some other systems. So we have SAP applications and we have non-SAP data sources. So from these things we are going to interact with the HANA, and HANA has HANA Studios, SAP Information Composer. We have calculation engine, we have row and column in memory, we have real-time data replication, and we have the SAP data services. And these all things we're going to discuss in detail, and we are going to work on it, and we are going to start working on SAP HANA Studio first. This is the first one, and underneath that, when we are working on HANA Studio, the underneath that we have the calculation engine and a row and column in memory. So these are the things that we are going to have, the technologies underneath this software. So we have SAP business objects, wherein you can present this data in a report form to the end users. And you also have something latest, like we also have Lumira, but BO is a highly recommendable tool for reporting. So the end users see the data in the BO, and then they take the decisions based on that. So what's inside HANA? So we'll see this. Okay, so as we discussed, it's 3,600 times faster. 460 billion records can be analyzed in less than a second. So that's the speed with which HANA works, and 21% average increase in revenue. So it's like amazing speed and all. Okay. Now this is a graph which shows the which shows the speed and how it is improved and all the stuff. So HANA proof points, like okay, so the naming update now here. Okay, so we are discussing about the in-memory computing. So what exactly is in-memory computing all about? In-memory computing is storing, storing all the data that we have in hard disk into the RAM. So the RAM would have the equal capacity of our hard disk. Let's say our hard disk is capable of 100 terabyte, then our RAM also would be capable of storing that data. But since RAM is very costly, they have adapted technologies which we are going to discuss, which will enable the system to store the equivalent of data in RAM at a five times lesser space. So let's say if you have the 100 terabyte of hard disk, and you have the RAM of 20 terabyte, you can still hold the data with using the various technologies which have been innovated by SAP. So SAP HANA is a flexible and all. So we have okay, daily challenges. Now this is what we have to know. So we have 320 crores and more, and 4 terabytes RAM and more. So we have this much, like that much capacity is what a hardware innovation has done. So multi-core CPUs, 10 cores are there, and multi CPU boards, 8 CPUs boards, and multi-server boards, and massive memory setups, like 2 terabytes server. Now, this is a Moore's law, which actually says that every 18 months the data is double. So technology, we have this CPU and all. So these are the old statistics that we have, and we have moved out of this long back. So now here, now what is another advantage that we have for going for HANA is, like previously we used to have we had that huge data, and that huge data have to be actually like have to be reduced to fit into the memory and CPU. So now what happens is, like you can have the data all being loaded into the HANA system, and using this row and column storage, partitioning, compression, insert only on delta, using all these concepts, like you can better use it without any bottlenecks here. So we will discuss about the columnar storage and the row storage and column storage in the next session. We need to understand what is column storage, what is row storage, and how was it useful for us working on the SAP HANA platform. So SAP HANA enables, is a hybrid a storage unit, where exactly you can either go for column storage or row storage. So most of the data warehousing softwares are based on column storage, and most of the OLTP softwares are based on row storage. So I'm going to discuss technically what exactly is the difference between row storage and column storage in the next session. So in that we can get detailed list of what exactly is column storage all about and row storage all about. Yeah, so these things I'm going to discuss right now. So we have this technology. Yeah, even we'll discuss this one as well. Like